Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another spreadsheet creation with Excel lesson. For today, lesson 12, we're going to learn a new topic of data and charts, and this will be the first part that you will learn. The next one you will learn in class when we're back together. So this is our IT HBL schedule for today. We're going to explore how we can present data with charts, as well as different types and uses of charts, and of course, parts of them. For today's activity, you're going to do a very simple data and charts quiz on Learn for Life eCampus, so make sure you follow this lesson video well. Once done, that will be the end of today's lesson. So, sometimes it's really tricky for us and others to understand lots of data because most of them are often in words or numbers and it can get really tricky or wordy to read. So, we present them visually through visuals like charts and diagrams. Charts are basically graphical representations of data that help us to better understand and compare data, spot data patterns and trends, and predict future data as well. So these are 5 common types of charts that we will explore today. The one on the top left is called a pie chart. The one next to it is called a bar chart. The third one on top is a column chart. Over at the bottom on the left side is called a line chart. And finally, the last one you see on the right is called an area chart. So let's explore all these in better detail, starting with the pie chart. So this is a pie chart. And yes, you've guessed it. From the top-down view, it does look like a pie that's sliced. So a pie chart is often used to compare data by proportions. All your data values combine to form a pie, with each value shown as a slice of the pie. It's easy to see which values make up a portion or percentage of the whole when arranged this way. So if you were to read a pie chart, you would say something like this. Oh, mystery book sales make up almost half or 50% of total book sales for the year based on the pie chart. Or adult book sales almost double classic book sales, taking up about a fifth or 20% of total book sales for the year based on the pie chart. Moving on to the next type of chart, this is called a bar chart. Most of you have seen this in your math worksheets or you may have learned this during your math class. So this chart is very commonly used to compare data. And each data is represented by, as you have guessed it, a horizontal bar. So if you were to read the bar chart, you would say something like this. Based on the bar chart, romance book sales peaked in 2009 during the 5-year period from 2008 to 2012. Or you can also say, mystery book sales more than double science-fi and fantasy book sales each year from 2008 to 2012. The column chart, which is the next chart on our list today, is very similar to the bar chart. It is also used to compare data, and as you've guessed it, each data value is, instead of represented by a horizontal bar, is represented by a vertical bar instead. So basically your bar just stands up. Okay, so they look like columns actually. So if you were to read a column chart, this is what you will say. Romance book sales outperform mystery book sales every year, except 2008 during the 5-year period from 2008 to 2012. The least total book sales was made in 2011 during the 5-year period from 2008 to 2012. Now this is interesting. This is something called a line chart. You can tell this simply from the lines that make up the chart. This chart is used to show lots of patterns and trends from your data across time. So data values are represented by points and all of them are connected by lines. This makes it a lot easier for us to see if the data values are increasing or decreasing over time. So if you were to read a line chart, this is what you would say. Most book sales saw a sharp increase from 2008 to 2009 and a gradual decline from 2009 to 2012. Or science-fi and fantasy book sales are generally stable over the 5-year period from 2008 to 2012. Finally, on our list today is the area chart. So this is a chart that is also used to show patterns and trends, and it's actually derived from the line chart, except that the area under the lines are filled in with color. So the shaded portions are basically your area. So if you were to read the area chart, this is what you would say. Young adult books sales generally outperform other book sales over the 5-year period from 2008 to 2012. Or most book sales saw a sharp increase from 2008 to 2009 and a gradual decline from 2009 to 2012. Now moving on, we're going to look at the different parts of a chart. So the chart we're going to use for this example is our typical column chart. Now some parts of the chart may vary for different kinds of chart, but it's better for us to have a general understanding from one that is commonly used. So let's take a look at this column chart of book sales in particular. What we see is that on top of the chart, there is a title, and this should clearly describe what data the chart is showing. For example, book sales. The one on the left side of the chart is something we call the vertical axis. Some people call it the y-axis, and this allows us to measure the value of columns of the chart. So in this case, we are actually measuring the total sales of different genres of books. Horizontally, the little words that you see there, these are actually part of the horizontal axis, or the x-axis for short. This allows us to identify data by its categories. For example, book genre in this case. Sometimes, if you have a different chart like a bar chart, the vertical axis and the horizontal axis might flip. In the middle of the chart, we have our data series, and this basically comprises of data points represented graphically. For example, the yellow columns could represent the month February. Finally, if you have different color zones to represent different data series, you will need to have a legend at the bottom. This will allow people to identify the color of your data series. For example, in this case, we are looking at colors representing months. Okay, so now that we have finished learning, let's click Take the Quiz to complete the data and charts quiz.